Good morning, everybody. Welcome to a beautiful Sunday morning here in the Philadelphia area. Welcome into PM in the AM because there's no P today. There's just A and M in the AM today. I'm Big Al, along with Mike Lauro. Mike, what's going on, brother?
What's going? Yeah, right. Apologies for last night, guys. I guess we had a rolling outage. My internet cut out for about an hour last night. So I actually feel bad. I didn't get a chance to answer Maddie's question.
Well, it was
that he wanted me to, but
the timing was funny because it did kind of look like you're just like, I'm out of here. I don't want to answer this question.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I'm sitting here watching it on my end, and it looked like Maddie got stuck. I'm like, that's not good. Maddie got stuck.
I upset.
And next thing you know, then your picture, as StreamYard loves to do, you get the circle of death. And I'm looking, and my wife literally turns to me and goes, "We don't have internet, love. Our internet went out." And I went, "Oh."
Yeah.
So,
but it worked out because first part. I'm going to thank you for jumping on last night. I know we do this a lot, and it's enough to jump on, and Maddie, because the reason is, and it kind of goes right into our first topic of conversation here, is I asked you about it, and you did answer it last night, and Maddie answered it in his typical Maddie fashion. That is it time to stop hating on Rob Thompson? Is it time for us to buy into what the Phillies are selling? Is it time? Do you believe in this team?
Yeah, and I said it last night, and I know sometimes, Matty doesn't want to buy in, and that's fine. That's his prerogative of not wanting to buy in yet. But to sit here and say that they're the same team as they were in 2022, you can't say that, because in 2022 they didn't play small ball. They depended entirely on the home run ball. They have won games this year playing small ball. No, you got to throw that narrative out the window. And another thing I like is this bullpen has gotten shored up, which was once kind of a leaky faucet. You could say Dombrowski kind of went and tightened up the nut there a little bit with, now I'm waiting to see how Roberts is going to look. But also, what people are not understanding is Alvarado will be back. And, yeah, he can't be on the postseason roster, but he could sure solidify the Phillies leading up to it, leading up to the postseason. So, I mean, I like what Rob's doing right now with that bullpen. It's basically Strahm, Kirkering, and then Duran. I'm sorry. I feel like, and the way these Philly starters are going, what's going on, Mike? The way these Philly starters are going out, I mean, if they're giving you 6-7 innings, you're really not going to see too much of Tanner Banks, not going to see too much of Jordan Romano, which, by the way, Romano's gotten better. You know.
Well, so, and I touched on this. I don't know if you were on with me or not at this point, and I know I did talk to Matt about it, but I think the Duran signing is more than just, we got a really good lockdown closer. I think there's a ripple effect that comes along with having a guy like Duran, because it was always like, what am I doing today, Mike? Like this is the one part where I did give Rob Thompson a lot of flack, because I just felt like it wasn't his fault. It was more a Dombrowski thing. We could all argue those ideas. It doesn't matter in my eyes. The point is, I was just getting tired of this committee closer. Who's going in the fifth? Who's going the sixth? Who's going the seventh? Who's going the eighth? Who's closing that night? And it just felt like nobody had a role, and it was very haphazard. And then when guys got settled in, they got they got discombobulated, I guess. And I think number one, you have a kind of more of consistent roles across the board. And when you have a guy who has the pedigree of Duran, I think you also have it's just like adding a superstar to a lineup that's really good. Like you have that solidifying factor that makes these guys play better. It helps. He actually helps the guys kind of be better and be more relaxed.
Well, yeah. If you got a guy that can lock it down in the ninth inning, that's one less worry you have to worry about. And what's up, Ricky? Another thing too is you have to take a look at too is that somebody from the starting rotation is going to go to the pen when Aaron Nola gets back here. So To me,
I mean, to me, it's like it's. I don't know. Like, I mean, you're running with possibly 3 starters, right? It does just putting somebody into the pen in my eyes doesn't make it better because some guys just don't know how to work out of the pen. Like, just put Aaron Nola in the pen. I'm like, it doesn't
no,
work that way, man.
no, it doesn't. It doesn't. It doesn't.
He's let's talk about last night. Jesus Luzardo. I said, he came out a little clunky, and everybody. That's why I think it was like Star Wars was on. And he said Luzardo was okay. He wasn't great. Well, I mean, first part we have very high expectations on great, but he actually was really good. I mean, if you think about it, I think he only let up like 5 runs or no, I'm sorry. It was I think it was overall seven runs. So I think 3 of them were those 3 singles he hit in a row. And after that, over the next 5 innings, he let up 1 run an inning at most, like on
No,
average. So
you mean hits? They only got
hits,
2 runs last night.
that's right. I'm sorry, hits. Yeah, I mean, yeah, hits. Sorry, thank you. But that's my point. Is like I actually take it a little bit more into consideration about what being able to, how do I put this? Being able to combat and fight back and not just be like, oh, here we go again, throw our arms up in the air and just poop the bet.
Yeah, and I think you got to give Luzardo a lot of credit last night too because he matched a really good pitcher last night in Jacob deGrom, who was 9-1 lifetime against the Phillies going into that game, and then now he matched them pitch for pitch last night. So again,
Thank you, Nooms. Thank you. Yes, for those who didn't know, the other day, hit that 100 marker of real people, real contributors to the It's a Rap Sports Network YouTube page. So if you haven't and you're listening, please feel free to get us that 200 marker.
yeah, that's right. It's free.
Sunday morning to you guys. I hope you guys are sipping your coffee. By the way, I just saw Adam Schefter. Not really Eagles news, but former Eagle Jalen Mills is helping out the Texans, who had former Eagle C.J. Gardner-Johnson suffer a knee injury. So they just brought in Jalen Mills to help, fill the gap.
Yeah, I feel bad for that guy. CJ for Gardner Johnson. I mean, he leaves here. He didn't want to leave here. Like in some ways, I wish they would have reworked his contract. I think it was him and Fangio. I don't think him and Fangio got along, or Fangio didn't know how to take him. That's why they shipped him out of here. Because
I don't know about that. I don't know. I'm going to take it a step further. I think Fangio can handle almost anybody. I mean, unless the guy's like a typical locker room cancer. Like we just can't overcome it. But I don't think that was it at all. I think he overvalued himself a little bit, not too much, but a little bit. And there's nothing wrong with that, by the way. Let me just put you out there. Anybody thinks they're worth something, go get it. There's nothing wrong with that. I think a tough decision had to be made. There's no way you're going to be able to keep a lot of people at the current rates, plus move and bring in better players. So he was, I would say, easier choice. And also, I honestly think when Saquon signed, and when or I should say, they gave him his extra money, not so much sign, but his extension, his bonus, whatever you want to call it. I think he was like, well, what about me? I played really well, and I think they're just like, well, we're not going to be able to afford you, so we're going to trade him. I honestly think that was more. I don't think it was him going, I can't handle this guy.
I don't know. I mean, I find it weird. He said maybe he'll be back for a third time. It wouldn't surprise me.
Well, I mean, he's been a different team every year. I mean, he's been back to the Eagles, but he hasn't been on the same team consecutively. That's for sure. What is going on, Ryan? What's going on, my friend? Yes, we are live. We're talking Phillies. We're going to talk Eagles. I'm sure we'll touch on some more sports conversation here on the It's a Rap Sports Network.
Ryan.
So Phillies, let's not there's a lot of little storylines that came from last night's game. Number one, they won the series against a team who, and I got really in depth with it at the end after Matty jumped off. a team that's really trying to fight to get themselves in the playoffs. I mean,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
Rangers are a couple games out right now. They are 2.5 games out after losing to us last 2 nights.
right, and they're only 5 back in their division. Like they've come a long way. Beginning of July, they were like 11 back
Yeah.
in their division. They showed the graph last night, but I'll tell you what, the thing that I liked most about this is it's now 5 in a row against those Rangers, which if you look at like we haven't won in Arlington since 2014.
Yeah, well, they have a 10-game, 11-game losing streak was snapped last night.
Yeah, like there, like in Arlington. So I mean,
not Friday night, not last night, Friday night.
yeah, but
Yeah.
it was losing in Arlington. Like they haven't won there since the beginning of 2014 when they opened up. It's really weird. Like 14 and 22, they opened up in Texas against the Rangers. So I just, I always found that fascinating. I never with this interleague stuff. Now like everybody plays everybody. Like I feel like they should still somewhat be kind of kind of traditional. I think your first series should be somebody in your own league.
Yeah.
You like move along later on, like the Phillies. I think they finish up this year with the Twins.
Yeah, it's something like that. Usually it would be like it was always like I felt like it was always the Marlins for many years. Like they were always the last team of the year. I think they stopped.
They play the Marlins before them. They play the Marlins before
yeah.
So I'm like, come on. I'm like, you really gonna end that? Like to me, like that place. I don't know. It might be sold out. It might not be. It's midweek. But getting back to this team, Al, I just feel like better days are ahead. We're getting some pieces back. I'm hoping, when Bohm comes back, he can start, putting the ball in play. He was kind of doing okay. So,
well, here's the thing: is I think today's game's so important, not for a sweep or anything like that. When the win loss today isn't to me as important as is Zach Wheeler feeling better today? Is Zach Wheeler, Zach Wheeler, is he injured or is he a little fatigued? Maddie and I talked about it after you kind of popped off last night. And I feel it's a little bit more fatigue versus injury. I know he was pushed back, they said before the All-Star break, so he can spend a little extra time with his kid, all that kind of stuff. And he had a little command troubles. One thing I say Zach Wheeler has been, who is normally is more honest than not. Like probably tells more things than most people would or should when you're trying to keep things tight to the vest. I think it's more fatigue. I'm hoping today is enough of a rest. I'm hoping Aaronola comes back. I wouldn't mind letting him go on a 10-day stint, just take him a little phantom shoulder soreness or something like that. Like let him just take a little break, but that's not his MO. He doesn't work that way. He's very, very routine.
schedule. Yeah, he's very schedule oriented.
Like because when they were trying to stretch out six-man rotation, they let him start where his 5th game would be versus everybody else going 6 games. So I don't know if he'd be happy with that. Ryan saying, "See how yesterday was a grind. They need to incorporate that most games, even if the pitcher isn't that good. Have the mindset by the time the playoffs come in easy." And that was another part of the thing I talked to Maddie. I said, we're on this team about being home run or nothing, like just being swinging for the fences and it being a big old fat nothing if you don't. And I feel like they've changed that. Can they revert back to that when things get tough? Absolutely. I mean, that's what happens in baseball. I mean, bad habits they surface again when you start to struggle. You know what I mean? But this team is I feel in a lot better place right now because last night was like Connor Ryan said, last night was not it was Kyle Schwarber, Trey Turner, and Bryce Harper. Those guys were 0 for whatever the whole game. It came from the 4 through 9 spot, and the 3 runs that you scored were Max Kepler and their 9-hole hitter Bryson Stott, and that's what we need, guys who are just going to put the ball in play. And like I said, this could have been a game last night where it was to steal a term, a scheduled loss. Like this could the typical Phillies against a good DeGrom, knowing that they might struggle, would go out and just close their eyes, swing that bat, and hope for the best, and they didn't. And I think that
Well,
speaks volumes.
Harper did. Like, I'm sorry, like Harper's been like, I think he's still here in Philadelphia. You know what I mean? Like, if you're watching him, he looks like he's just trying to kill the ball. You know what I mean? And
My son was born during the 2014 series versus the Rangers. Marlon Byrd got a hit the moment he popped out. That's hilarious.
That is funny.
Well, it's just something about guys and when they become new dads and they play. I mean, Bryce Harper. It's like every time he comes back from having a kid, he has like a banner day. I mean, Bryson Stott, he just had a kid when he played the day she was born, and I think
he had the double and a homer. Double and a homer.
I feel like his best game of his career. Most games will be low scoring, need to manufacture runs and grind it all out. Start doing it now, intending each game so the time playoffs come in will be in their minds. And here's my thing, and right, maybe I'm nuts. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm a homer, as some people will use. And by the way, I don't know if you heard this last night, Mike. We'll talk about this in a little bit. Apparently, I'm getting somebody starting to edge me out as the king homer.
Oh, I guess me, huh?
It would be you.
Well, listen, I call it like I see it. So
a certain boss around here, he said that I might be getting edged. That graphic might get changed to just me, but me and you.
That's fine. That's fine.
Big Al and Big Mike Sports and Excuse Emporium.
And listen, this guy still refuses to give Howie Roseman his flowers after not one but 2 Super Bowls. So, I mean, we all got a hill to die on. Mine's, his is Howie Roseman. Mine's Joel Embiid. So it is what it is. If he wants to put my face next to yours, that's fine. I'll send him a nice picture.
There you go. but what I was saying is, maybe I'm crazy, maybe whatever, call it whatever it is. But I feel like this team has already been doing that. I believe they fall into bad habits at times, Mike Lauro. I believe they have their moments where things aren't going well, and they will start swinging for the fences again. And they're human; they're going to do it. If you think they'll never do it again, you're out of your mind.
But, no. And listen, and I
think they've been doing it for most of the year. I think most of the year, this team has been trying to just hit the ball, make contact, manufacture runs. This is nothing new. It wasn't coming easy at some points, and there was times that the ball was just jumping off the bat. I mean, it's like Kyle Schwarber. It's not like Kyle Schwarber is, that unicorn we're used to seeing where he's like batting a 198, but he has 40 home runs and 100 RBIs. You know what I mean? Like, he's batting 250 and above, and he's getting on base, and he's not trying to kill it. They're just coming. Like, I feel like they're already there. They just need to continue to be there. Am I wrong?
No, I agree somewhat with what you're saying, but I also agree with Maddie too. Like, the death thing of this Phillies team is hitting with runners in scoring position. They have not been able to do that for the last 3 seasons. Okay, and that will rear its ugly head. And I feel that's if there's going to be something that's going to stop them from going to a World Series, it's going to be that hitting with runners in scoring position. To me, that boggles my mind. Now, Friday night when I was watching the game, they were something like 3 for 11 before they exploded in that 9th inning. But what I'm going to say to you guys is they've been beating up on people's bullpens for most of the year. They've been beating up on people's bullpens for most of this year. Doesn't matter who the team is. The Phillies, for some odd reason, they just get better as the game goes on. That's what's leading me to believe, hey, they might be able to turn a corner and do what we all think that they can't do.
Mm-hmm. Well,
the pitching's there.
Runners in scoring position right now. They are 9th in baseball. LA's top at 2 with a 286 batting average. Right below them's Toronto, who's really. Do you believe Toronto keeps this up?
I don't. What? I do. I just don't think they're the best in the American League.
Well, right now they are 284, not by much. They have definitely come down a little bit. Tied with them at second, I guess, or it's technically third place if you want to put it. It's 284 is Milwaukee, which they've been just really ripping the cover off the ball. 279 for Miami. I know you said they were kind of your sleeper team. 272 for Tampa Bay, who is really not even in. They're in it, but not really in it right now. Washington, they are 270. The Cubbies are 269. Detroit is 265, and we're at number 9 at 257.
Now,
With
you
Cincinnati
go
with us.
right now. You're sitting there looking like basically you just read that list, and out of the 9, I think 6 are postseason are going to be postseason teams.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, too. Don't sleep on the Reds either. I think the Reds can finally, get off the schneid here too. That last playoff spot in the National League is going to be fun to watch. This is why the Phillies got to keep their foot, I feel like, on the gas. Like they got to bury the Mets. By the end of this month, I would love for them to be like 10 games up. If they're 10 games up on the Mets by the end of this, the end of this month, it would be looking really good because the Mets got a brutal, and I mean brutal, schedule in September. We kind of went over their schedule about I think it was last week. I went over their schedule. It is extremely brutal. They got to go out. I think they got another left coast trip out there. Mm-hmm. It's pretty brutal, man. Like when we were sitting back and I was discussing it because I wanted to see just all who just to see all like how the teams around the Phillies are I guess lining up on how it's going to look. And I'm going through it, and I'm sitting there looking. I'm going, holy cow, dude! They got a bad schedule in September. That's why I was like, yeah, like it doesn't get any easier too. Like the Mets finish up today with the Brewers. They go home. Their next 6 games are the Braves, who no matter what their season happens, they have the Mets number. It's kind of like us with the Marlins a couple of years ago.
Man,
how we didn't.
I said this yesterday, though. It is kind of nice. They are 13 games out of the wild card. The Braves are pretty much out of it outside of some miracle run to go on right now.
Yeah, they literally play. Like I said, they got 1 game left with the Brewers today. They got 3 with the Braves. Then the Mariners come in for 3. They got to go to Washington. Then they go to Atlanta before coming home to play the Phillies. And then after the Phillies, they got the Marlins.
Yeah.
And now, Al, this is how they end up. The month of August. They go to Detroit for 3.
Ooh.
And then September doesn't start any better. Then they go from Detroit to Cincinnati. They can play the Reds. And then they come here for 4 games.
Yeah, that'll be a defining series right there. I mean, if they win that series or even split the series with the Phillies, I think they're done. Unless the Phillies have some, they're 1-9 their last 10 games. And if they don't pick it up, they could be 0-10 in their next 10 games. You know what I mean?
I'm just going to tell you, literally right after that, right after our series, they literally get, like I said, they get the Rangers for 3. Then they get the Padres for 3. And they have the Nationals a little bit of a break. And then they finish up at the Cubs, at the Marlins.
So you got all the teams who are pretty much in the play. We're going to be in the playoff hunt, and fighting, jockeying for that a spot. So yeah, it's going to be real big for them. See, Nooms, I'm going to kind of talk about what he's here and said. Maybe I'm overstating it a bit, but many fans haven't got over the 5 home runs, 1 game, and getting no hit the next game of the 2022 World Series. Listen, for as tough as us Philly fans say we are, we do not forgive, we do not forget, and we get PTSD. I think Matty B is literally walking sports PTSD. Like, I mean, he talks about things from. I mean, I get it. You have to look a little bit at years in the past. The team isn't drastically different, but you would hope they growed mentally as players and humans a little bit. But like, I'm not over last season how they just got. I mean, I feel like it's not been complained about enough. How the Mets just made us look like fools in the postseason. Almost like when we played the Mets, we went in there so cocky, like, it's the Mets. We'll just sit here. We'll kind of cruise through this, and then we'll go to the NLCS. And then, we're supposed to be in the World Series, right, guys? Like, I feel like that's the kind of attitude they have. But no, they haven't gotten over it, and I get it. And it keeps getting thrown around, but people haven't gotten over us throwing snowballs at Santa Claus from 117 years ago. So this world doesn't get over anything.
And Al, I've been saying it all year. Like, when that gets brought up about 2022. Well, guess what? 2022, we weren't supposed to be there. The Phillies were the team that got hot at the right time. Okay, just like the 21 Mets, or I'm sorry, the 21 Braves. The 21 Braves, they got hot at the right time, went on to win the World Series. Phillies got hot, got to the World Series. Now, yes, I can definitely say that they looked past Arizona and maybe even took in the Mets lately last year. But you also got to realize that the Phillies were the number one seed, and they ran into the hot team both years. Arizona came out of nowhere and was hot. You got to remember they knocked off the Dodgers that year.
They just sold half that team.
Yeah, and exactly. And then you had
the
Mets.
We saw one piece on Friday night.
Yeah, and we wanted, and like I said, and we wanted to. And you're looking at the Mets last year. The Mets were that team. The only difference is they couldn't get past the Dodgers. You know what I mean? So, yeah, the Phillies ran into a hot team. Again, sometimes you have to tip the cap and go, they were the better team in this 3-game or 5-game series or whatever. You got to tip your cap. I mean, I know people want to look at their payroll and say they're the fourth highest. Well, guess what? Boston and the Yankees are damn near the highest. Well, probably the Dodgers are now. But the Yankees are right up there. And how many World Series have they won?
Padres.
How many World Series have they won? Like, again, I love that narrative when it's only put on the Phillies. It's not put on the other teams that are there. I know you don't.
Well, listen, this fan base hyper focuses on the Phillies. Of course, they're going to hyper focus on the Phillies, but listen, I get the payroll means nothing to me. You can be the lowest payroll, you can be the highest payroll, and you could win. It just again, it means it gets hot. This is another piece of the puzzle. Talking about things getting better or worse. You know, Noom saying I'm finding amusing that fans get on Stott, yet the guy hits 275 with runners in scoring position. His home run and RBI totals are really around the same. It's other at bats that haven't been as focused. And I think that another thing about settling in, they finally said, all right, he's not a 2-hole hitter. He's not a 1-hole hitter. He's not a 5th or 6-hole hitter. He's a 7th and 9-hole hitter. And he's comfortable there. And it's actually kind of nice having him in the 9-hole because when he's hitting well enough, it's almost like you have him and then Trey Turner, which is really good to have. And I think Stott, deservedly so, has gotten a lot of hate this season because of his play, but I think he's really kind of come to form. Not every guy needs to hit 300 and be a superstar from 1 through 9. You just need to be able to be trusted to make a hit when the time comes. There's the difference. You know, it's like Matt Stairs. Let me remind everybody everybody loves Matt Stairs, but outside of one singular hit in the postseason, a moonshot in L.A., wasn't much to write home about for Philadelphia.
He struck out more than he hit home runs.
Yeah, I mean, he just
hit a home run at the right time. Now, see, this is where me and Mike are going to go back and forth here because Mike, I'm about to buy him a dog and send it to upstate New York because he's scared of the Mets. I'm not scared of the Mets. The Mets are the Mets for a reason. There's a reason why they haven't won a World Series since 1986. They are just, I'm sorry, they can't get out of their own way right now. They can't. They can. You know what happened with this?
They
team?
look like the Phillies did last year at this time.
Yes.
They were staying in it. And you know what? How many times? I fall into this category. I fell into this category. How many times do we sit there and go,
"Nah, they'll turn it on.
They'll turn it on in the playoffs. They'll get there. They know what to do. They know they've been there before. Blah 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 blah." So the Mets, to me, the Washington Commanders, and the Phillies, the 2022 Phillies, all have a lot of same problem. What did you say? The 2022 Phillies should have been there. They were there a little too early. And I think the Commanders are going to have the same problem this year a little bit. And I think
we'll talk about that. We're going to talk about that.
I think the Mets fall into this category as well. You had success quickly, and now you went from expectation ladder to just jumping to the top.
Well, I will say this. Their starting pitch really got banged up this year to start out. Mania not being there. But I feel like, to be honest with you, I felt like the guy that kind of held that pitching staff last year was Severino. Severino went out there and threw a lot of good innings for that Mets team, and they let him walk this offseason. Another guy I felt like, and I'm really surprised because he was rumored to go there in the trade deadline, was Seth Lugo. they were trying to get him back, from Kansas City. So again, what's his name? What's what's Kenga or whatever?
Yeah.
Him going down, but none of them have like worked out. Like you want to talk about, high, was it low price, high reward? I mean, dude,
risk, high reward.
yeah, like that was it. Frankie Montanez. He has not panned out for them. And here's the thing: they went out and got Ryan Halsey, right? Kind of hard to bring Ryan Halsey in when you give up the lead. Like their bullpen has just been. I don't know if they're kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? If they're kind of like fizzled out because
they
they
went out and they made signings. I mean, they got a really good closer in Hazley from the Cardinals, but hasn't paid off for them just yet.
Well, if you look at Hazley's numbers against the NL East, they're not very good. He doesn't have good numbers against the Phillies. He doesn't have good numbers against the Braves. And you know who really eats him up is Washington. Washington and I think and Miami. I think both of them. It was really weird because they were talking about that on the MLB Network. They were talking about all the trade day acquisitions, and they said, well, it's kind of funny. They said we would expect Helsley to go to come to Philly. He was like, but seeing him go to the Mets, he goes, and you look at like they brought up each one, and like the Phillies were like third on that list of like I think the Mets and the Braves were like kind of towards the bottom, but like the bad teams in our division like eat him up for some reason.
That's
so
funny.
It is, and again, you got to get to Helsley, you got to get to Edwin Diaz, and Edwin Diaz hasn't been the same this year. He's blown a few saves. So,
so I'm gonna hit a couple of these comments real quick. They're starting to pile up a little bit. Thank you guys for commenting in, of course.
Thank you. We'll get to you,
Ryan. But how often are most of the runs being piled up when they're already up 3 to 4 or more runs? That's why they are tops or in the middle ground in the run scored or in runners in scoring position, not in clutch spots or runners in scoring position. Listen, I think you can go that with a lot of people. Ryan, it's like the reverse for a pitcher. Like we showed the stat last night, I think on Fox. They had Luzardo. Like if you take away if you separate his bad starts and his good starts, he has a sub-2 ERA. And if you take away the spots where he got shellacked, he was an 8 ERA. So they're winning games and they're winning series, and that's what needs to be done. Yes, when a team's hot and a team's hitting well, you're going to get that piling on runners in scoring position situation. It's going to happen. Yes, the clutch spot is really where you need it. But that's a time will tell type situation. You won't know until you get there, in my
eyes. He says, I have no clue why people say don't worry about the Mets. Man, I said it and heard it last season and the playoffs, so I'm not looking past the Mets. Well, Mike, guess what? I'm telling you, look past them. Because the Mets didn't do nothing. The Mets had 104 wins in 2022, and they got smoked by the Padres. The Mets are not a good postseason team. They caught lightning in a bottle last year. I'm sorry. I'm looking past the Mets. The Mets may not even make the postseason. Like I think Florida has a really good chance to not only catch them but go past them. And if you're looking at it, you have literally the Reds, the Cardinals, the Giants, and probably the Marlins all within that area that I feel like are going to do that. Like Mets fans are already saying they're already looking forward to football season. They know their team's cooked. So I can't wait. I mean, to me, if you want to worry about them, I'll buy you a Philly stuffed bear and mail it up there, buddy. You know what I mean? So you don't have to worry. Well, I think they're cooked.
Well, here's my thing is, I say never look past anybody. You really shouldn't look past any team, right? Any team can get hot at the right time. The Mets can still get hot and go on a run. I think you shouldn't look past the team, but right now, in this moment in time, and this team does not look like they're going to get any better. And as you illustrated just a little while ago, this is some rough sledding for them. They will really need to turn it on, and people ask me what's the difference between the Mets and the Phillies, kind of early on, and it stays kind of the same. Like the Phillies have had good pitching but not always consistent batting. The Mets were the other way around. They've had good hitting, but not consistent pitching. And one of those two are going to last longer. That's going to be pitching in my eyes. So I think that's your biggest difference there. I think that's what it's starting to catch up with them. And when you're, and you know how it works, when your pitching isn't great, how many times have we seen it the other way around? Like where, Wheeler's going out there and it's like, oh, it's a nothing game after 5 innings and he's just not getting any run support. This just needs, it's a lot easier to sustain good pitching and okay and up and down batting than good up and down batting with okay pitching with injuries. So that's why I'm saying I'm not as worried about them as other teams right in the postseason at this moment in time.
Yeah, and I'm looking at their schedule. Like I said, dude, literally coming up, they lose today, man. Like I'm looking, like really going back. I'm going back since the 18th of July. They literally lost 2 or 3 at home to the Reds. They swept the Angels and the Giants. I'll give them that. But then after they sweep the Giants, they get swept out of San Diego. The Giants take 2 or 3 from them in New York. They got swept by the Guardians and now are on the verge of getting swept by the Brewers. Before going to play a team, even though the Braves, like I said, the Braves are not very good this year, they have the Mets number. The Mets cannot beat them. It's psychological. If you ask any Met fan, they will tell you when they see that tomahawk on the other side,
yeah,
it's going to be.
Listen, you know how it is. I look past no division games. I don't care how bad a team is. The Nationals were bad teams for a while. Miami was a bad team for a while, and they've given us fits. So look past nobody. But you have to look at some things in realistic glasses. Ryan, runners in scoring position when they're up by a lot already. They seem to pile on lots of runs and bunches. I think I'm going to cover this one. Oh, sorry. It may be time to let the team go. Schwartz isn't a 191. Hader and Otto stabilize the bench a bit. Duran helps a ton. I'm not sure if it's enough. Well, in all honesty, it should be enough, Nooms. Not saying it is enough. I'm not saying you're right or wrong. But based on what you have 2 bona fide superstars in Kyle Schwarber and Bryce Harper, right? Trey Turner is just right behind them in the superstar category. Should be. Nick Castellanos, he's a star, not a superstar in my eyes. Jay Realmuto, another guy I feel is being underrated still this whole season long.
Great game yesterday.
Who offensively was been a lot better over the last 3 to 4 weeks. On top of still just one of the, I don't care what anybody says, one of the better defensive catchers, and really knows how to orchestrate a game. I think this team has the pieces. I really do. It's just them being hot and staying hot at the right time and not getting in any bad habits.
Yeah, I'm just looking at some of the comments coming in, and again, I don't. This Phillies team to me, it's a little different than the 2 previous years. The Phillies last year, they had a very hot first half. If you look at it, the Phillies have been kind of even keel throughout. They had a really good May, as Matty likes to point out. Well, if they didn't have that, well, guess what? They did have it. So we could sit there and say, oh, well, what if they have a great September? That's what I don't get.
That if thing, it's like I said.
Yes.
If my aunt had a penis, he'd be my uncle. You know what I mean? Like it's
exactly.
It's the way it is. I understand. So it is good that you stacked right. Like a lot of people try to say, well, they stacked up a lot of games against bad teams, but they also had a bad chunk of run in there. They got the House of Horrors known as Candlestick Park for them. And by the way, let's keep an eye on that. Let's keep San Fran out of the playoffs, please. They're 4 games out, so let's just keep them right out of the playoffs. I do not want to have to go there at all. But and they they beat up on the Rockies, and they had a kind of a little clunkers there after that.
So So now we have to have style points in baseball. You know, if they would have been losing to these teams, oh my God, you think these comments coming in now? Oh my God, they'd be killing them.
How many post games did we do? That I do. I know that for a fact that I did that. I'm just like, I was like, guys, come on, man. Like they win, you're mad. They lose, you're mad. Like where does it end? Where does it all end? Like when can we be happy? Let's see. We're sounding like that now, being cocky because the Mets are playing bad. I guess our short memories of Phillies have done what the Mets are doing now. There's still lots of baseball left, and anointing the Phillies NL East champions. Again, Mike, I just said it earlier. I'm not. Maybe you put this in before I said it. I'm not anointing them NL East champions.
I am. I'll stand on that mountain. NL East champions. All right. I don't want Al to take any heat. I'm saying it. Go watch a Mets game and tell me right now that you have any confidence in that team in trying to catch the Phillies. I'm sorry. If the Phillies keep winning series, which they're doing, and the Mets keep losing series, which it looks like, and their big money players are not hitting. I know Alonso hit a home run yesterday, but other than that, they're not getting no offensive production. Like, watch a Mets game. Like, it's really simple. Watch a Mets game, and you will see what I'm talking about. I have no confidence in that team at all. Last year, the Mets were hot. They were playing smart ball. They had good pitching. They don't have good starting pitching. Their hitters are not hitting the ball. So, yeah, I'm not going to be worried about them. And and I'm sorry, I will say it until I see them win another championship. It's 86 and forever for a reason with that franchise. That franchise sold its soul to win in 86, dude. And because there's no way that. How many times they've been to the World Series and haven't been able to win? I mean, hell, they went to a World Series in 2015 against the Royals, a poverty franchise, and lost. Like, come on, give me a break with the Mets.
Listen,
I'm more worried about the Marlins than I am the Mets.
I'm not saying I'm being cocky, but I'm being realistic right now. This, like I said, the problems they have aren't fixable. No. They tried fixing at the deadline. They haven't been able to fix it. And it's not a fixable thing in my eyes that this team can have any consistency. I'm not saying they're not going to make the playoffs, but they're literally on the last rung of the ladder of the playoffs. And there's, as Mike, you elegantly put, this is a lot of baseball left, and they have a lot of tough sledding ahead of them.
Dude, they got some, like I said, I thought the Phillies had kind of a rough September until I looked at the Mets schedule. I said, Jesus God, man. Like, their schedule is going to be brutal, and they're not playing well. Like, when you're 1-9 in your last 10 games, I'm sorry. There's nothing I'm seeing on this horizon that I'm looking at. They're probably going to get swept out today. Then they're going to play a team that they can't beat in their head. And then you got a very good Mariners team coming east to play them next weekend before they get the Nationals, which is kind of a 3-game break. But then they got to go to the Braves and then they come home for the Phillies. Come on, man. I'm not trying to hear that. Like, you got their fan base right now. They want to call up their young talent to come up here and try and jumpstart this team.
Yeah.
And Mets do got a pretty good farm system. I'm not going to lie. They do got some. They got some players down there.
But I think that's why the Phillies haven't brought up Crawford. We talked about this a little bit last night. I think they didn't bring up Crawford because they didn't want. I think they didn't want another Johan Rojas situation. In the sense that, guy comes up, plays really well, and then gets shell shocked in the postseason. I think they want somebody who can play all year, and I think it will be next year. I think it's, unless he falls off the face of the earth, Crawford will be the center fielder of next year. I said last night, I think no matter if they win or lose, Castellanos is gone. But that's a different story, a different time. But Ellis wants to know, do you think the Phillies could win the World Series? My answer simply is, I think they can. Yes, they can. Mike, do you feel the Phillies could win the World Series?
Yeah, because I think the National League's better than the American League. I really do. I think it's more battle tested. In the American League, you got 3 good teams, and that's the 3 leaders. That's it. Like, I'm not buying into the Yankees. They're way up and down. I'm not buying into who's in the Central there. Underneath, I couldn't even tell you who's in second place. Maybe Cleveland. I'm not buying into them.
Guardians right now are half a game out of the wild card. Right now, here's your AL standing. So, of course, your leaders are the Jays, the Tigers, and the Astros. Your wild card is, and it's a very tight wild card race in the AL East or in the AL right now.
I know Boston's a part of it, right? It's Boston.
Boston, and Seattle are both 65 and 53. I guess Boston has the tiebreaker with whatever reason. I don't know, but they are they're the first spot. And the Mariners are in the second spot, but they're 2.5 games above the Yankees. Are in the third spot. Both New York teams are in that third spot.
Boy, tell me that wouldn't be a shocker for major. That wouldn't be a shot for Major League Baseball, huh? Both New York teams get eliminated and not be in the postseason. That would be, oh man.
Yeah.
Needless to say, they won't be watching baseball in New York. They come October.
This is a good point Nooms makes. This lineup is set to have 6 consecutive fast guys from 5-hole to 1-hole, and Marsh, Bader, Stott, Sosa, Trey, which sets up the chances for the Bachelors. That's a good point. It's a really good point. They have a lot. I mean, even JT Realmuto can run. I mean, outside of Schwarber, Harper's probably a middle of the road runner. And Castellanos, they really don't have any guys who really don't lack speed. So runners when they're up by a lot, that makes them the 9th consistent and not consistent with runners in scoring position. Don't be deceived. Listen, man, the eye test is the eye test. The Phillies are 67 and 49, right? They are third best in the National League right now from a winning percentage. Right behind the Dodgers are 68 and 49, right? Because they won last night. Milwaukee's the only team in baseball over 70 wins, and they've been a hot team since we saw them early on. So they've been pretty consistent with their hotness. So outside of that, I don't know what more has to be done for anybody to buy in. Like, when you say the runners in scoring position thing, if they go on and win the World Series, is it like, well, I guess I was wrong. I wasn't that important. I mean, if you want to go with runners in scoring position again, I'll pull it back up. Like I said, they're not just ninth. Let's break it down. Mike, I want to do a quick game here with you, right?
Okay.
Let's look at it this way: runners in scoring position by batting average, right? Number 1, Dodgers. Okay, 286. They are one of the top teams in baseball right now. Toronto, one of the top teams in baseball. Number 3 is Miami, who is, like I said, you're a sleeper, as we mentioned, but they're not in the playoffs right now. They're not even in the playoff competition right now. I think they're 5 or 6 games out right now, if I remember correctly. They
6
are
games.
6
Yeah,
games,
they're 6 out. Yep.
Okay. The Cubbies, another good team. They are 269. Detroit, another good team. They are 265. The Rays, they're not even in, I think, right now. Are they in? They are not in. They are 5.5 games out, is the next team. Milwaukee, which we already talked about, is 284. The Angels are right above us at
they're not in the playoff picture.
No, they're not in the playoff picture. Wait a minute, hold on. How are they above us when I organized? Let me try this again. Sorry, let me rephrase that. So Washington at 270, and they're not in the playoff picture. Detroit, then Philly. So we're right behind Detroit. So how great Detroit Tigers are, right? We are like 3 points behind them from a 265 to a 257, right? If you not more, less than not 10. Then Cincinnati, then Minnesota, Angels, Boston, who's in the playoffs, they're at 253. St. Louis, Baltimore, the Yankees, they're 16th right now, and they're in the playoffs at 247. Houston, Atlanta is 245. The Athletics are right below them. Cleveland, San Diego right now is at 242 in the 21st spot, and they're in it. Texas right now, who we're playing, is 237 right now. The Mets are 27th right now. 27th with runners in scoring position. The only ones worse than them are Colorado, Seattle, who's in the playoffs right now, is 29th, and the White Sox, of course, bottom of the barrel. So It's not only about that. I think we get hyper focused on one aspect of the game and that's why they're going to be bad. Okay, so what made them good in 2022? Clutch moments. Bedlam at the bank, man. Like we've talked about it. It's why I don't know why I just don't understand why I understand we've been hurt over the last couple of years. We hope to have one by now, but I think understand that guys, that's part of the sports thing. Like only one team can win a championship, so one team gets at the right time. Like I'm not saying they're a perfect team, but if you look at all the other teams and all their blemishes, they're they're tops in the league in my eyes. Like where you can overcome the blemishes, where you have the pieces that can make you overcome. They are superstar laden. That's why I didn't hate the Harrison Bader pickup. He
I
wasn't
loved
like
it. I loved it.
it wasn't like it wasn't like, oh well, Harrison Bader sucks. Now Harrison Bader's a good player. I don't think they needed another superstar. I just think that would have just made them the Bash Brothers again, and they would have just been doing what they did again. Like that's why I didn't want a Rooker or something like that, because it would have cost too much. And like look at the Padres, man. They gave up everything. They had to shut a team, they had to shut one of their minor league teams down because of that.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, you know, I was looking at Mike's comment back up there a couple of ones back. I'm going to put on real quick. It says the Phillies bullpen hasn't been good this season, ranked somewhere in the 20s. And now that we got Duran, all our bullpen issues are fixed. No, it's not that it's fixed. Okay, what happens is now they got defined roles, which Mike's been one of the components. You've been on here yelling, we got to give them their roles. Now they got roles, okay? And you have Alvarado coming back. You have Dave Robertson, who's going to get put in there. I don't know what we're going to get out of Dave Robertson. I'm not putting my hopes on him, but I know what Alvarado can do. And like I said, he won't be there for the journey in October, but he can damn sure help set up and solidify our bullpen to get us to October. So, yeah, this is why I feel confident, because now if you do Kerkering, Strom and Kerkering in the 7th, Alvarado in the 8th, and Duran in the 9th, good luck, buddy. And now you're only asking your starters to go 6 innings because you have 7, 8, and 9 already covered.
Yeah.
Come on.
Listen,
you mean to tell me that's not going to – I'm sorry, I didn't mean to step over you there. But I mean, but guys got to think about this. Kind of go out of the box a little bit and look at what you have coming in there. You also got Aaron Nola coming back. I think Nola's going to come back, and he's going to be a lot better than he was early on this season.
Listen, if he's healthy, I'm happy, man. It's like getting a new pitcher at the deadline, man. It's like bringing somebody in that he's going to be healthy. He's going to be well rested, that's for sure. But again, I'm not looking past any team. The Phillies were the bottom of the barrel. They were like 19th, 20th overall in bullpen before they picked up Duran, and I think that can bop them up. And let me tell you something. Right now, going backwards, as of today, I think Washington has the worst bullpen ERA. Colorado's right behind, in front of them. So going from top to bottom, San Diego has one of the better ERAs for the bullpen. Then San Fran, Houston, Boston, Texas. And like I said, you go all the way back. But guess who's at the bottom of the barrel with us? So we're right there. The Yankees are right in front of us, and the Dodgers and Detroit are right in front of them. So the 4 top teams in baseball right now, of the top teams in baseball right now,
have ahead
of them. Doesn't do them any good. I mean, like there's more than one piece. So what's Ryan saying here? They keep reverting back to who they are because they don't intend to grind it out. I mean, listen, if you're not willing to I won't say forgive and forget, but like move on, like, and think that this team can't learn, then why are we wasting our time here? It's like
that's what I wanted to say to Matty yesterday. Like, why should we even watch it? Like, according to him, they're not even the top. Like, they're not a World Series team. The hell they aren't. Like, give me a break. Again, look at these teams that are supposedly above them. The only team that they have a losing record against right now is the Mets. They're 2-4 against the Mets with 7 games to go, and they're 0-3 against the Brewers. Other than that, they either have a 500 record or better.
Yeah, there's a lot of Mets love from our Phillies fans in the.
I know,
in the chat.
Man. Yeah, they're all wearing their Pat Bernard colors. Talking about,
the Mets have a way better future than the Phillies. How do you know that? I mean, you could be right, Ryan. You could be absolutely right. I'm not saying you're wrong. But how do you know this? Because they have prospects. They have good prospects. Is that how you know it? Well, all these prospects, even Matty B last night when we were talking about it, I said, what have we given up since Dombrowski's been here from a prospect standpoint? And don't tell me Logan O'Hoppe.
Yeah.
He even admitted, like, he's not knocking the cover off the ball. He's middle of the road from a catching standpoint. It's just a youth movement. I get it. And I know that T8 probably sticks in some people's craw, but he's not going to be catching for at least 3 years in any organization, maybe 2 if he really moves up. He's 19, 20 years old.
Dude, you got to give up. You got to get.
And you could fix this outside of it. You could go outside and get something in. I think JT's here again next year, and I think JT doesn't get enough love. I really don't. Just because he's a little older, I think he's still one of the better catchers in baseball defensively. And we know offensively, I mean, he hasn't gotten slower on the base paths or anything like that. It's time will tell, but I think you see him for another year because they have to.
Yeah. Hey, look, listen, I would love for them to keep JT. I mean, there is a backup plan, though. I was reading an SI article yesterday. They're talking about the kid down in Baltimore. Mm-hmm. They're talking about the Phillies might actually try to go after him in the offseason if they can't get him. Joe Sullivan saw a stat that had me floored. Marsh and Victorino have around the same numbers for their first 324 games played as a Philly. Crazy how he's really turned it around after the horrible April.
Yeah, I mean, that's that again, the other little piece of the puzzle. With the moves that they made, bringing Duran in, I think just change the scenery with them having another guy in the playhouse and just has made this team better. I mean, I know that people aren't loving this quote unquote platooning situation, but I think what they're trying to do is give guys some days off here and there when you let Max Kepler play. I don't think Max Kepler's here. I don't think you see him much of any at all unless he turns it on in the postseason. I really don't. I don't think Max Kepler. I think Max Kepler's here to give guys a day off, give them a break, give them a little breather. I think that's what you saw from Castellanos and a little bit of the matchup situation. Castellanos, his numbers against DeGrom are horrific. So the last thing they want to do is let him go in there and have a bad game.
Yeah. This thing here, I wanted to talk about this here. What is the big rush about getting Crawford up here? They don't need him up here right now. They really don't. They got guys that can go play center field. That's the reason they went out and traded for Harrison Bader. Mm-hmm. I don't know what this whole rush thing is. I think they
wanted somebody who knows who's more of a proven commodity. All right, so devil's advocate for a moment. Say they don't go get Harrison Bader. Say they just bring up Crawford earlier on in the season, and say Crawford's having a mediocre year. What are you going to do then?
Right. You want to talk about really shooting yourself in the foot as far as if they ever wanted to move him. You know what I mean? Again, I don't really see the issue. Bring him up when he's ready. And I don't think he's ready yet. He's a ground ball hitter. He's got to work on his game a little bit. He's got to become more of a line drive type hitter where he can get on base and use his speed. That's been the biggest knock on him is that he hits too many ground balls, man. So I'm not in no rush for Crawford to get. He'll get here when he gets here. That's why you have a guy like Rojas, you have Bader, you have Kepler. Like I said, Kepler's going to be going after this year. I don't know about Bader. I don't know if he's a free agent at the end of the year or if he's got team control for another year. But again, for me, yeah, I would definitely take his time, dude. I'm not worried about that, man. He said they're solid players, but I don't feel the lineup really misses Bohm or Casty in their absence. Is it me or doesn't it seem that way? Casty was clutch last year, but he has been feast or famine. Hey, look, man, that could be, man. That happens. But I will tell you this. I watched Castellanos from afar, and I've wanted him on the Phillies since his days in Detroit. But he's always been that way. Again, this is what I'm really kind of hoping on. We haven't seen the Castellanos tear yet this year. So my only thing is that could be something that comes along in October. He can start getting hot, and boom. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Listen, I agree a little bit with what Noom said a moment ago. I think Bohm's gone if there's any market for him, unless they're just going to leave him in there and run with him next year, depending on what the outcome of this season. If they win, maybe they run with him a little bit more. If they don't, I think in Max Kepler, maybe he becomes your everyday third baseman. I think they try to. I think there's going to be big changes no matter what happens, win or lose the World Series for this team. And I think one of them is going to be Casty and Bone will be gone because I think, like Noom said, solid players can be a difference maker when they want to be, but both have kind of attitude problems. Let's throw that out there. And both are very, very, very streaky. So, Bo might be worth a little something because he's young ish. And Cassie might be worth something for a team who's looking for, a DH kind of bopper kind of guy. And maybe Castellanos is that guy. So I wouldn't be surprised. I kind of agree. I said I don't think they're difference makers in this lineup. They seem to play okay without them. Now, if they had to do it all year long, like if one of them went down for the whole year, would it continue that way? I don't know. Question. Bader takes are mostly casual. This guy's having one of his better years and can share time. No, I mean I like Bader. I really do. I think people are hoping for a bigger name and this didn't get it. But they would have been the same people complaining that we had to get rid of Painter, we had to get rid of Crawford, we had to get rid of Miller. Like we would have been hearing it big time. Noom says, my major concern is our left-handed relief pitching. I have very little faith in Strom or Banks. Until he proves otherwise, Kirk is not a playoff moment guy. Those are the guys that concern me. That's a great point, especially the playoff moment guy. What do you think?
I think he'll do better. And the reason why is I don't think it's going to get too big for him. Now, you got to remember, the year they brought him up when they went to the World Series, the kid started in A-ball and moved through the whole Phillies farm system within a year. Last year, he got a little bit of a better taste of it. I think the more times you get there, the more routine it becomes. It's not too big. You know what I mean? And Kirkring's got the stuff. I don't want to hear that he doesn't have the stuff. That guy's got stuff to be a closer. But now, you can he can be set up guy now here for at least the next 3 years since we went out and got Durant. So to me, again, people want to nitpick. People forget, like Joe Carter, was a very average first baseman with the San Diego Padres. Then all of a sudden he goes to the Toronto Blue Jays and the guy was, crushing the ball. Fred McGriff, okay, when he was with the Padres, barely could hit, he was okay. Goes to Atlanta, all of a sudden he becomes the crime dog. So again, guys get into their roles once they get them. So I look.
Ryan Sitter saying Luzardo starting off games bad lately. The fines at 30 to 35 pitches in his last 4 games, I believe. That's why I'm moving him to the bullpen. Might be an issue. He's finding it later. He is not moving to the bullpen unless they need a guy to eat up innings or something, or say some guy needs to come out early. Say Suarez has like has a kind of a rough, clunky start, throws more pitches than, and you need to bring a guy in for 3 innings. He might be a guy they do that with. But I mean, right now, I think your starting rotation, if Aaron Nola is healthy, it will be Wheeler, Nola, Sanchez, and Ranger if you go for number 4. So maybe Luzardo might be the odd man out unless he finds himself between now and then. But that's why I'm saying I don't worry about that 4th and 5th starting pitcher because when it comes to the playoffs, they're not important. And I want to touch on something. I know you talked about it real quick. Let me kind of pop through these real quick. I want to come back to something you asked about before because I know we're kind of getting towards the tail end. And today, by the way, everybody, is the anniversary of the Terrell Owens workout in his driveway.
Yeah, I saw that.
I know Banks and Straub low and mid leverage numbers are okay, and the Alvarado situation really screwed us. It did. That's one of the things. If this season falls apart, you're going to look back on because if we had Alvarado and Duran, he went Alvarado to Duran. Oh man, it would be. We'll talk about that's going to be my conversation with you in a minute. Just remember, no Alvarado in the playoffs, so the bullpen changes. Yes, I do know that. Logan O'Hoppe is barely having a decent career. Agreed. The Mets are like the Sixers. They stink all the monies in. They sink all the monies into the players, but they don't put enough into all the other parts of the organization. Oftentimes, it shows. Agreed. Agreed about Crawford, Mike Lauro. Morning, fellas. Steve, my man, what's going on, my friend? And I'm not big in signing anyone over 30, but sign JT. He is genetically royalty. If you check the family tree, okay, all right. I mean, I'm just a big fan. He just has that it factor. He just has that ability to um play above 30. You know what I mean? And 30's 30. Like I know from a catching standpoint, 30's a little old, but he's not. He's younger than Harper. He's younger than Schwarber. I mean, like
Uh,
he.
anybody have?
He's not 40.
Yeah, anybody here? Yadi Molina? Dude pitched until, or dude caught games until he was like in his late 30s. So,
And like I
yeah.
said, Realmuto is still speedy on the base path. Like I said, like outside of Harper, Schwarber, and Castellanos, and if Bohm's in, there's no really big, slow, clunky guys on the base path. But yeah, no, I get it. That's what I'm saying. It takes 30. It takes him a little bit to get started. So that's what I'm saying. He might not play much at all unless they, really need him. I don't think you see him much in the playoffs. So he might be the odd man out. But Mike, we were talking about the Jose Alvarado, and we saw him come up a couple times in the conversation here. I believe, Mike said, just remember, no Alvarado in the playoffs. And the big thing is, yes, Alvarado's situation screws us. And this will be something that will be a defining moment if this team loses this year in the playoffs, that especially if it comes down to pitching and not just the bat's not hitting or anything like that. That's what's going to come down to, because like I said, if we went from Alvarado to Duran, that would just be a 1-2 punch that most our bullpen would go from like the worst to the best in one fell swoop. But you said it, let him play, let him come in and pitch. I say no. Now, unless you're just going to let him come in and eat up innings, but he's not the kind of guy that eats up innings. He's just not. You always know if Alvarado comes out for a second inning, it doesn't usually end well anyway. He's not that kind of guy. But unless you want to throw him out there when the team's either doing really good or really bad, and you don't want to waste one of your good relief pitchers. But I say no, because, again, they just said it. He's not in the playoffs, Mike. Why in the hell do I want to give up these opportunities and these tough moments to somebody who's not going to be here?
You really think Alvarado's not going to be back here?
In the playoffs?
Oh, well, yeah, okay. Yeah, I got a guy that throws 100 miles an hour, left-handed, and gets people out. Yeah, okay. He got caught doing what he did. He served his sentence. I'm sorry. I'm not paying him to sit on the bench.
I'm not talking about serving a sentence. I'm talking about the fact if he was available in the playoffs, I'd say play him. That's not an issue. I'm saying to the fact that he is not going to be available in the playoffs, and you're taking moments. Listen, how are these guys supposed to sharpen themselves if Alvarado's taking those moments away from them that he's not going to be around for?
That's why you're seeing them do with their roles now. So, yeah, their roles. Listen, you have Alvarado. You'll be cutting your nose off to spite your face for not putting him in the situations that he needs. Again, you could also use Alvarado on days you want to give Duran if Duran's not available. You can actually use him as a closer. So, no, like if you have him, use him. Like, I don't care. Like, okay, he's going to have to serve his thing. He's not going to be a part of the he's not going to be a part of the postseason roster. Okay. Big deal. This is what happened. We knew months ago he wasn't going to be there. So, yeah, I'm sorry. He's reinstated. He can play from now till the end of the season. Use him. Like, you not using a guy like that, like I said, is cutting your nose off to spite your face. Other guys can still get their work in. That you just don't leave a guy like Alvarado sitting AAA. because of that. If you're going to do that, then you might as well just release the dude. Honestly, I would release him. You know what I mean?
I get it. I get your point, but it's just I just see if you go through all this and then you get to the playoffs and you got guys who aren't ready for high leverage situations because they weren't put in for it. It's kind of a mental thing in my eyes.
Well, then you put him in the high pressure situations. Nobody said that Alvarado's got to be the 8th inning guy. All I'm saying is he's there. Use him. It doesn't matter. Like with Robbie, or the way Robbie thinks, I would use him like all over the place. Like his job is not the setup guy. That job belongs to Kirkery. So you put Kirkery in those situations. That's the only way he's going to get better at him. I hear that, but to say you're not going to use him, that's like I said, that's not good, man. You just really kind of, boom. How did JC?
My headphone went out.
Oh, it said, how did JC?
You there?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Sorry, my I don't know what happened. I just had to reset it. What did you say? I didn't mean to cut you off.
It said, how did JC Romero get a sweet deal for PEDs and JA and more modern players take the shaft?
Well, I think here's my thing is because, and not that it makes it better or worse, whatever. Especially the late 90s into the 2000s for a while, PEDs were just like whatever. People look past it. But now we know how easy it is to find out if something's not good for you. We know how tempting it is if your guy's trying to better himself and he wants to better himself by taking PEDs. But the fact that people know how devastating it is to a team, just like we've seen with Alvarado, you miss 2/3 of a half a season, plus you're not going to be able to make add anything to your playoff run. Now it's a slap to the face. And they can easily call up a phone line and say, is this something I could take? So the fact that you play, it wasn't me, is a big problem.
Joe Sullivan checking in. He's saying Phillies need to get a top 2 seed. Alvarado can help with that. I want no part of a 3-gamer versus New York. I don't care who they play, Joey. I don't care. Bring them. He says playoffs are a different animal anyway. How many teams have used starters late in games? Look at Arizona in 01, Boston when they won. That's another thing, too. Oh, by the way, you can check Joey out every Monday night. I believe, Joey, if you're still on at 6 p.m., over on Out of the Box and on the Sully Squad. So make sure you check him out. Him, Killer Kilrain, and the crew. Make sure you check them out over there.
Definitely check them out.
But yeah, one thing I want to we've been doing this now an hour and 15 minutes on the Phillies. I still think, like I said, I still think the Phillies are going to win this division now. I really do. I think the Mets, like I said, their September is really hard, and like I said, they're not hitting, and it's bad when you're not hitting, and he said, I don't want to have to win the World Series, just want to make it to the division series. But can we got to talk some pigskin now, at least for a couple minutes before we get out of here.
Yes.
My highlight from Thursday night, I got to say it, the Vanilla Gorilla. That is my next jersey. Ty Robinson had a monster. He had a good game. He had a couple tackles, some sacks. Mm-hmm. But I'll tell you what, man.
He can move.
He can move. And you're going to put him next to Jalen Carter. Good luck with offensive line stopping that. I've been seeing around a lot of people doing picks for the Eagles' schedule this year. A lot of people have the Eagles low end, I feel like. I saw one with a 9-7 or a 9-8 record. I saw another one with 10-7. Somebody wrote ceiling for the Birds is 11-6, and I'm looking at it going, nah, I just don't see that. I don't. I see more wins.
Listen, I love the ceiling conversation with the Eagles. To me, there is no ceiling for this team right now. Like, I would be almost. I mean, I'd be amazed if they went undefeated for the whole season, but I'm not going to sit here and be ridiculous. But this team can win 14 or 15 games or win 12 and 13 games, and either way wouldn't surprise me any more or any less.
Yeah, I got them at I got them 12-5, 13-4. Somewhere in that range, I have them. And the only reason why I'm saying that is because if you're looking at where they play some of these teams, like a lot of people penciled in week 2, Kansas City, a loss. I'm not. I'm picking the Eagles to win that game. Like we saw last year what that trip to Brazil looked like. A lot of people remember we came home, we had that Monday night game against Atlanta, and the Eagles looked kind of lethargic, out of sorts. They were at home, and they had an extra day of rest, if you're really looking at it, or an extra 2 days of rest. And they went out and played Monday night. We lost home last year. Remember Kirk Cousins hit the touchdown, and everybody was going crazy about the Falcons when everybody thought they were good.
Yeah.
Like, I think
I can easily say I was never one of those people.
Yeah, me neither. But I'm going to sit here and say, like, they're going to find out that that's real. And people also forget that Jalen Hurts outdueled Patrick Mahomes the last time they played him in Kansas City. So, right away, people chalk that up as a loss. I mean, really, out of the first 4 games, I see them losing 1 game, and it may even, and I don't even know if that's going to happen, and that's the Tampa game, because we never seem to play well down in Tampa. That dude just seems to have our number.
They always seem to be in Tampa in the beginning of the season, and
when it's like 90. Yep, when it's like 95 degrees.
Kind of like what San Fran is to the Phillies, that Tampa is to the Eagles. It just seems like Todd Bowles knows how to scheme against Jalen Hurts. I mean, listen, the first 4 games of the season for any team. I mean, how many times do you see guys like take the Saints last year? Oh, the Saints are 2-0. They're a really good team. Look at they came out of nowhere. No, they just were able to hit teams when they were not, with all the God bless you, with all the not starters not starting. We always say the preseason rolls into the first couple weeks of the season. So you can't judge a team in the first couple of weeks. I mean, I think the Eagles definitely proved that. I mean, how much of a helter skelter up to the week 5 it was for the Eagles.
Yeah, I mean, what was it? What, they were 2-2, and then they went like 13-1 or something. The rest of, or 17-1 the rest of the way. So I get that, but I'm looking at the schedule. Like, like the first half seems like they do have some tough games. Like, I think Denver's going to surprise a lot of people. I think they're going to challenge for that division. I think there's going to be a 3-way fight in that division. I think the only team that kind of gets kicked around in the AFC West is going to be the Raiders, because the Raiders just stink. But
can I just say I love how everybody is talking about Tanner McKee. Like, trade him. He's so much value. Don't trade him. We need him. But even Dooms, first time in a while, I wouldn't view an injury of QB1 as devastating as previously.
He looked good.
He looked good, but I would. I mean, that's 2 different quarterbacks. If he's coming in and playing 2-3 games, 4 games total in a season, okay. If he's playing the rest of the season,
tape will get out on him. Tape will get out on him real good.
The year is the Doc Rivers schedule for the Birds. This year's what is the Doc Rivers schedule? I don't understand that comment.
Yeah, me neither on that one. But I mean, I don't
losses or something. Like, I don't know where he's going with that.
Maybe, I don't know. Like I said, I just I was looking at the schedule. I bring it up all the time.
Johnny Wilson making the team. He had a heck of a game.
I think he is. I'll tell you what. I like the kid. What's his name? Cooper, the wide receiver.
Mm-hmm.
So hold on. Let us pay some bills real quick, Al, before we get out of here. So guys, make sure you tune in tonight. That's right, 10 o'clock. The man, the myth, the legend. That's right, Matty B. He will be joining you tonight, going over what goes on today with the Phillies game, whatever Eagles news that there is. Matter of fact, I do believe today is the open practice, too, for the Birds down at the link.
If you're down the South Philadelphia, I think there's like a thing going on at the Wells Fargo. It's going to be. Thank God the Phillies are away, because it'd be just a madhouse down there. So
yeah, so
you can steer clear of that area. Steer clear of it.
Yeah. So Matty B will be back with my favorite segment of his show, This Date in Philadelphia Sports History. So maybe you'll get a chance to
Actually, I
hear you.
don't know if you know, but Matty might be renaming his show as The Power of Positivity.
Oh, the power of positivity, huh? Oh, Jesus. All right, guys, don't forget every Thursday, 9 o'clock, make sure you check out Pat Bernard and Steve Fuentes for the attacking third. That's right. They have you covered with the Philadelphia Union and all of the MLS action. So make sure you tune in for them. The wraparound, Fridays at 10:30 with Pat Bernard until Pat gets his Siberian internet issues fixed. It will be yours truly jumping in on 10:30. And of course, every Sunday, it is me, it is Al. Al, you got to get your face up on there too, because I'm tired of looking at Pat's
Maybe
face.
I should do is I should just paste my picture right over Pat's head.
Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be great.
And then I'll just put an X, I'll cross out his name and write my name in underneath to make it real.
Yeah, for the time being.
Yeah.
So your Sundays will never be the same. That's right. With me and Pat and Al. So make sure you tune in to that. And also back, the Birds Blast with Kyle Quinn. Tuesday, August 28th at 7 p.m. Make sure you guys tune back in for that. Also, upcoming, the Happy Valley. Wait a minute. How did Steve write this again? The new show, the Penn State, the Penn State post game show. Yeah, this is my show, and I'm like, yeah, listen, you got to forgive me because I got stung yesterday like 3 times in the middle finger by a hornet. So I'm like delirious today. Yeah, it's the Happy Valley Huddle, I believe Steve named it. Yeah, Happy Valley Huddle. That's it. It will be debuting.
And also, don't forget, Steve's going to have the Eagles post game shows as well. I was just getting ready to do that. There you go. The next one coming up right there. For that will be, I guess, about 4 o'clock on Saturday afternoon after they're done beating Shedeur Sanders and the Browns. And I love how they were getting all over that. Like, oh, Shedeur makes his NFL debut. I'm like, who cares?
Yeah. So make sure, Al, I'm actually going to send you over this logo so we can get that ready to go. But coming up today, it says Pat, but it's probably going to be Matty B. So make sure you guys tune in for that. Coming up, this upcoming series, starting Monday, you got yours truly, Steve on Tuesday and Matty B on Wednesday. So, guys, what is going on with this? This is not – there we go.
Yeah, and just so you know, so today's game's a 2:35 start for your Fighting Phils. Taking on former Nationals pitcher Patrick Corbin. Just a little stat for you. The last 10 games that Patrick Corbin has started against the Phillies, Corbin has allowed 4 more runs in 8 of those 10 starts. So let's see if they can continue those woes. Give Zach Wheeler a nice win today. Have a nice, smooth Sunday win.
Dave Roberts gets a save today.
Yeah, there you go. I forgot he's on the team.
He actually flew down to go meet him. Mike Papernick says he's having tacos for dinner. So, Al, I got to ask, what's your meal of the day, buddy?
Well, drumsticks and thighs on the smoker, baby. And by the way, my new specialty is smoked mac and cheese. Make it all on the smoker. It has been I've made about 12 of these things so far because it's easy to make 2 as easy as to make 1. And my family loves it, so I just make 2. And whenever we don't eat, I freeze. And the kids eat it for lunch over the week. You know, better than eating that Kraft mac and cheese crap. But yep, that smoker's been my best friend and remains to be.
Nice. I think I'm probably going to do some rigatonis and.
Oh, you got pasta, Pat?
I'm going to do pasta this week. Yo, you listen. I've been away for 2 weeks. Kind of eating stuff I shouldn't be eating. Like I'm going to kind of bear down a little bit tonight, and and there is 2 football games on today. People, 1 o'clock. You have Miami and Chicago, and then 4. I think it's 4:30 or 4:30, whatever. You got the New Orleans Saints taking on the Chargers out there in LA. So, and you also have the Phillies at 2:30. So, let's get it in, guys, huh?
Yep. So you guys have a lot to go here. Is the Emporium still closed for repairs?
Yes.
I don't listen. That Emporium, that's just something that the Negadelphians like to throw at us here. I got stung right in the nail bed by a yellow jacket once. Ooh, that just sounds. I just cringe thinking about that.
I got hit with 2 hornets yesterday. One got me on the top part of my finger. The other one got me on the bottom part of my finger. Trying to open up my truck door at work. They were hiding. They were hiding in there. Didn't see them. Stuck my hand in there. They both got me.
I feel like someone was holding a match to my finger for about 3 hours. Yeah, I bet it did. Let's hope Robertson shook off the rust. He looked so mid. I mean, he looked mid when he was here. When everybody got excited he was coming, I'm like, man, we must have been really bad.
Desperate. Yeah, we were desperate.
Robertson is like the guy that we're getting excited for. But other than that, guys, thank you for joining us. Mike, Laura, you are the man, as always. I'm Big Al.
I'm Mike Laura.
And if you want to catch me, I'm at Big Al Sports with a Z on Twitter. Mike Laura, what's yours again?
Mike Laura Sports on Twitter and on Facebook and whatever. But guys, thank you for tuning in. And hopefully we get back to Gobbler sometime soon. I'm pretty sure he's enjoying his little mini vacay from us. So for that guy over there, that's right, the guy over there, that's Al Safari. I'm Mike Laura. We will see you next week.